Good morning, all present over here. Last time we started Kingdom Fungi, okay, and Kingdom Fungi. What we seen? We seen some feature of the Kingdom Fungi, like that saprophytic is there, reproduction is done by mycelium, okay, and also we seen some symbiotic association, like lichen were there, mycorrhiza were there. Today we'll see reproduction in fungi. What are the types are there, and then we will see their members. So come on that. Reproduction in fungi. Okay, reproduction in fungi. Now, this fungi reproduces by all means, like vegetative also having asexual reproduction also takes place, sexual reproduction also takes place. Okay, so what I told, fungi reproduces by all the three modes, like vegetative, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Okay, so these three modes takes place that a fungi reproduces. Okay, under that first we will see what are the mode that are coming under vegetative reproduction in fungi. So come on that first one. Vegetative mode of reproduction in fungi. Now, under vegetative mode of reproduction, what happens? It has many types that fungi reproduces, but every time the final result is mycelium germinate into new organism of fungi. So here first one is fragmentation. So under that type is fragmentation. Now, as a term suggests, fragmentation means what we can say, the mycelium breaks into two or more segment, okay, two or more fragments due to either mechanical injury, okay, either decay or some other reasons, okay, and that what happens, each fragment grows into independent mycelium and further that grows into fungi. Okay, so what I told, mycelium divides into two or more fragments due to mechanical injury. Okay, due to mechanical injury or decay, and each fragment develops into a new mycelium. Okay, and further grows into a new fungi. Okay, mycelium means that is the reproductive stage of fungi. So this is having what? in fragmentation. Now, here questions are asking what are the reason are there. So you have to remember that mechanical injury or decay. Mostly you have to remember mechanical injury. Every fragment develop into mycelium. Okay. Now, next type is a fission. So in fission, what happens? Simple splitting happens. Fission. So second one is fission. What happens here? Here, simple splitting of mycelium takes place into two parts, and each independent part germinate to a new mycelium. Okay, so into two parts, that's why it is known as what? Fission. Okay, now third one, and that happens by simple construction, nothing is there. Okay, so what we can say? New mycelium by simple construction. Okay, so first what we see? First we seen fragmentation, then what we seen? Fission, then the third one is budding, unicellular. You have listened about hydra yeast. Now come on, budding. Some fungi, or we can say unicellular, some fungi, that is unicellular yeast, grows outgrowth on their body, and that outgrowth further develops after separation from parent body. After separation from parent body into new mycelium. Okay, so what happens? The unicellular yeast mostly grows by budding. Okay, here what happens? That outgrowth coming, this is known as a bud, and this outgrowth further develops after separation from parent body into new mycelium. So this is the type third, that is budding in vegetative reproduction. Okay, so what we seen? These three types of mode that are found in, okay, in vegetative mode of reproduction. Now we have to come on asexual mode of reproduction. Next one. Asexual mode of reproduction in fungi. Okay, asexual mode of reproduction in fungi. Now, asexual mode that occurs with the help of spores. So, one celled structure spores are forming that further develops into mycelium, okay, new mycelium, and that further produces what? New fungi, okay. So, what I told, these occurs with the help of spores. Okay, what is that? These occurs with the help of spores. So and this is the common mode. Okay, so asexual reproduction which takes place in fungi by the help of spores. Okay, now what is this? This is single structured. Okay, single celled specialized structure. These spores are what? It is what? These are single celled specialized structure. Okay, these are what? These are single celled. You have to remember this one, that spores are what? Single celled. So these are single celled specialized structure which separate from the organism. From where they are separating? So which separate from the organism. Which separate from the organisms and get dispersed. Okay, and they are having what? They got dispersed here, there, they dispersing, and this dispersion. Hello. Oh, video not coming. Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Oh, now okay, sir. Oh, now okay, sir. Sir, from where it was a problem occurred, sir? From means from starting. So this one asexual mode of reproduction. This is starting one. This one, sir. This one that I am just displaying in the board, asexual mode of reproduction in fungi. So this is showing or not, sir? This listened or not? Just any student, just okay. Any student is there? Any student just give response? Hello, hello. Any student is there? Just give response. Now, okay, sir. Voice also clear, sir. Sir, just ask any student that means from where that sound was mute. Anyone, sir? So that I'll start or I'll do that one from start. Oh, this only, huh? No? Okay, sir. Okay. What I was telling that previously I have seen vegetative mode of reproduction. Under that we seen fragmentation, we seen fission, okay, and we seen budding. These three modes we seen. Now, then we have seen in asexual mode of reproduction in fungi. Here what I told, these occurs with the help of spores, and this is the most common method. Okay, this is the help of spores. Now, These spores are what? These are single-celled specialized structure which separate from the organism and get dispersed. Okay, they are having what? Get dispersed. And after dispersing, they produce or they germinate to produce new mycelium. So what I told, get dispersed and after germinate to produce new mycelium. Okay, they what they are doing, and after germination they producing what? They're producing new mycelium. And when they are having that one, after falling on suitable surface or substrate, after falling on suitable substrate. Okay, so these are having what? With the help of spores. Okay, now these spores that are formed with the help of division mitosis, and that's why these spores are also known as mitospores. So what I told, the spores produced, the spores produced during asexual reproduction, asexual reproduction divides by mitosis and hence known as mitospores, and hence they are known as what? Mitospores. Now this is the important one, that mitospores, what is mitospores? That is the medical question. So mitospore is nothing but these are spores which reproduces fungi by asexual reproduction. And why it is known as mitospores? Because it involves mitosis cell division. Okay, for division they are involving what? Mitotic division or mitosis. That's why it is known as mitospores. Okay, now various type of spores are there, and on the basis of that this asexual reproduction also having that type. Okay, so we have to see that the various types of asexual reproduction. The various means of asexual reproduction by spores as follows. Okay, now here there if the movement are occurring, so that is known as many fungi. Like first one is a Jew spore. Jew spore. Now what do you mean by Jew? As term suggests, Jew means having movement. So Jew spore means what we can say, and mostly this produced which type of fungi? That is having aquatic, water containing. Okay, so many fungi, what we can say, especially aquatic organisms or aquatic members produces this type of spores. So many fungi, especially aquatic organisms, produces by this type of spore. Now, here example is there. If zoospore may be either uniflagellate, means they contained one flagella for movement, either they are having biflagellate, means they are having two flagella for movement. Okay, so zoospore may be uniflagellate. So what we can say, one flagella present. Okay, so zoospore may be uniflagellate, or what we can say, one flagella present. And if we are taking that example, so example is Syncytium. So for example, Syncytium. Now, zoospore may be biflagellate. Zoospore may be biflagellate. So biflagellate means how much flagella they are having? Two flagella present. Okay. So zoospore may be biflagellate, or what we can say, two flagella present. And their example is saprolagnia. For example, saprolagnia. Okay, these examples are important, that uniflagellate zoospore, biflagellate zoospore present in which type of fungi? So Syncytium uniflagellate, and saprolagnia, it is biflagellate. Okay, now one more is there after zoospore. Next one is sporangiospore. And we know that these zoospore further germinate to produce new mycelium, and this new mycelium grows into new fungi. Okay, now come on. So this one was zoospore. Next is sporangiospore. So next one is sporangiospore. Now, these are the spores that containing thin-walled and non-motile. Zoospore was motile, having movement, because presence of flagella that giving that movement capacity. But these sporangiospores are what? These are thin-walled and non-motile spores that produced endogenously. So these are thin-walled non-motile spores, means no movement, non-motile spores which produce endogenously. This term you have to remember, means inside the structure they are forming. So endogenously. Thin-walled non-motile spores which produce endogenously. Okay. Now, these spores that is forming in a bag like structure, and that is known as sporangium. So what we can say, these form in sporangium. So sporangiospores are forming under what? So these are forming under this form in sporangium. Okay. Now This form inside a sporangium only when during favorable conditions. So this form in a sporangium during favorable condition. Okay, so you have to be given attention that sporangiosperms form when favorable conditions are present. Okay, so and sporangiosperms are forming inside the bag-like structure that is known as sporangium. Okay, now when they liberate, okay, this is sporangium. When a liberate sporangiospore during favorable condition, they give rise to new mycelium. So what I told, then they liberate spores to germinate into new mycelium. But here you have to give attention that it only formed during favorable condition. Now, here examples are there, Rhizopus and Mucor. So for example, Rhizopus, and the second example is Mucor. So sporangiospores that are forming examples are Rhizopus and Mucor. This you have to be attentive that Rhizopus, Mucor, sometimes they are giving examples in the examination, how they are giving, match the column. Okay, right, matching the column, and inside that they will give sporangiospore, zoospore, conidia. Next is conidia. So come on that conidia. Now, what do you mean by this conidia? So conidia are what? These are also non-motile, okay, thin wall, but difference is what? They are forming exogenously outside the body of a structure, okay, and these produce at the tip of erect hyphae. So what I told, conidia are also non-motile spores, thin walled, but formed exogenously. And this term you have to remember, exogenously. Okay, they are also non-motile spores, thin walled, but form what? Exogenously. Okay, so these are formed exogenously. Now, this conidia, these are formed at the tip of erect hyphae. Hyphae is there like this. Hyphae is there. So that erect hyphae is there. So there all only these are forming exogenously. Okay. So these are formed at the tip of erect hyphae. Okay, so these are forming where? At the tip of erect hyphae. Now, these conidia that are forming on the erect hyphae, this specialized structure is known as conidiophore and known as and called conidiophore. So where this conidia is formed, these are forming on conidiophore. Okay, these are forming where? These are forming on conidiophore at the tip of hyphae. Okay, now sometimes they are also arranged in chain form. Okay, they are arranging in the form of chain form on where upon the conidiophore. So sometime they are arranged in chains on conidiophore. Okay, on conidiophore they are forming. So like sometimes they are arranged in chains on conidiophore. Now if we are seeing their example, so example is aspergillus and penicillium. What I told, for example, aspergillus and penicillium. Okay, so this belongs to conidia. Okay, now after conidia, next is chlamydospore. So come on that, chlamydospore. So next one is chlamydospore. Type of spore in a sexual reproduction, and their example is important for your medical exam, and they are giving like match the column. Okay, now what we seen till yet, we seen that favorable condition, but in unfavorable condition what will happen? So this chlamydospore are what, in some fungi what happens, the hyphae under unfavorable condition, hyphae is there, so under unfavorable condition forming what, thick walled, and this thick walled forming resistant spores, which later gets separated from each other. So what I told, under unfavorable conditions, hyphae forms resistant spores, and which gets detached from mycelium, and during favorable condition, it gets converted into new mycelium. Okay, so any fungi will be there if unfavorable conditions are there. In that conditions what happen, they are forming resistant spores. Okay, they are forming resistant spores, so that spores cannot be destroyed. Okay, now here last one is idea. So next type is idea. Okay, now this idea is what, it is also non-motile thin walled spores, but they are developing under sugar rich condition. Okay, they are developing under sugar rich condition, and this stage is known as a torula stage. So what I told, these are thin walled non-motile spores which develops under sugar rich medium. Okay, here you have to understand that these are developing when sugar rich medium are available. Okay, sugar rich conditions are available. Okay, and their budding action, or we can say their budding condition, is called torula stage. Their budding condition is called torula stage. Okay, so what they are telling, torula stage, their budding condition is called